Spoilers ahead for the first 4 episodes of Andor. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Script Department. Today, John and I are going to be climbing on that speeder bike and having a wander through the woods as we look at the first 4 episodes of Andor. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all of those things. You can check out our previous Star Wars entries in our podcast, going back over the last however long on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify, all of these cool and interesting places. And don't forget that you can buy us a coffee if you like as well. John has conveniently taken a sip from a coffee at that moment there. I'm going to pretend it's a coffee even if it's not, because he loves it. So feel free to buy him one. That would be terrific. Welcome, John. We are here today to talk about Andor. How exciting. This is I'm enjoying this so far. So we got the first 4 episodes. The first 3 dropped in one go, and then we moved into episode 4 just gone. What do you think? What's your kind of general thoughts on it so far?
I am not enjoying this.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I really loved the first 20-30 minutes of the pilot. Mm-hmm. Although that might have actually been the length of the episode. The beginning anyway, when he shoots the 2 officers. And, he's looking for his sister and all that. I thought that was really great. And then it just stopped at that point. And it didn't pick up again for me until episode 3, where it was getting really, it was really interesting. Like the reckoning, as Fiona Shaw called it, was all that was really fascinating. And I loved the end of episode 3. The way the music kind of hit that, that you kind of see that musical montage of everybody just kind of I don't know, just closing in on all these different characters that we come to know as Andor kind of flies off. I thought that was really good. Had no time really I had all the time in the world for episode 4. I was stuck on a plane when I was watching it, so I was absolutely just desperately trying to kind of let it suck me in and forget about this boring flight I was on. And it was doing none of that. It was just, it was politics, which I love the politics of Star Wars. Everyone used to hate all that stuff, with the Phantom Menace and all that kind of stuff. But this was like boring politics for me. I really didn't care about
Fair enough.
It was really not doing it. All the characters are there, I think. All the recipes are there. All the ingredients are there, rather.
Yeah.
It's total empire bureaucracy stuff going on, and I loved the idea of the I will get into this. I love the idea of they're outsourcing to security firms, and I thought that was clever. I thought that was nice. I like that we haven't seen a stormtrooper for 4 episodes now. I think that's really great. You are showing me that there is more dimension to this empire than I've seen before. But I think I could have gotten all of that in 1 episode. Or an episode and a half. I don't feel I need. 1 50-minute episode would have done that. Like, you go watch the pilot of Peaky Blinders, you go watch the pilot of Westworld, or the pilot of any of these types of or any of those kind of HBO shows, and they cram a lot into it, and it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel, the pacing doesn't feel off. There was 4 episodes here, and you can tell that there's something strange about the writing style, because the episodes are ending in not in unusual ways, but they're ending in ways that don't feel like it's the end of a pilot, or it's the end of, again, go look at the ending of each episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi. There was a clear punctuation at the end. Like, we've hit the end of this chapter. It felt like the end of this chapter. The end of these episodes are feeling more like we're just running out of time, and we'll pick it up next time, Yeah. And episode 3 was the only one that actually felt like we'd hit the end of a chapter. And I thought, that's the end of your pilot. That's the end of that's the great ending of a pilot that came at the end of episode 3. So I don't know, long-winded way of saying, I do think, and I'll say this again at the end, I think this could be the best Star Wars property we're ever going to get. Not ever going to get, but I think this could be the best Star Wars property. And I think we could be spoiled by how good this is going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there yet, though. So
Okay.
that's me. Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. I think there's a reason why they dropped 3 episodes here, and there's a reason why the three of them came out next to each other. This is becoming a bit of a habit with new stuff. That you're getting multi-episode drops. Rings of Power did 2. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi did 2, though that was sort of allegedly intended to be kind of a "oh, sorry, we're releasing it later" sort of thing. Um, so I think that there seems to be a bit of a habit, and I thought, oh, that's interesting that they're dropping 3 in one go. But I absolutely see why, because you're right. This is these first 3 episodes. This is Andor origin story. Those 3 episodes. That's Andor the movie, the origin story that we witnessed there, and I liked a lot of it. I thought that because I do think it's important to look at them in isolation as well, because it does set him on a different path. This is his origin story, and now this is Act 1, right, of this whole story. We're now we're doing this, and now we're going off to do more things. I think either that should have been condensed down a little bit to get rid of some of those lesser patches, or they double down and actually you go for a couple of series here and you make the story of this Andor killed a couple of guys, and now he's being hunted by this corporation, and we actually get no Empire, because I was really enjoying the fact that this is a Star Wars story without the Star Wars baggage. It was a story that happened to be set in the Star Wars universe that could have been told anywhere. That's what I want from these new shows. That's what I want from this new stuff, is exploring these worlds we've not seen before. My God, it's refreshing to not be in Tatooine as well, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's lovely. But I want more of that, and I thought that was where they were going to go, and I was enjoying it. I do think there are some slightly odd elements there that don't quite hit, and I do think there's what struck me. This feels like a mid-2000s action film set in the Star Wars universe. Like it feels kind of like almost like a Bourne. There's something of Bourne in this somewhere.
Well, it's
I don't quite
Gilroy.
know.
It's Gilroy behind it. Yeah.
Well, that's
so. I mean,
that's perhaps what it is.
And,
Then, yeah.
the comparisons have been made. It is very much the kind of set piece action, like there was the anvils or whatever it was, or the big anchors, whatever they were that were falling.
Oh yeah.
In the thing, like it's very much that kind of. I know exactly what you're getting at, like that kind of. Right, this is like, it's almost like a video game stage. Stage in a video game where you've got to avoid all these obstacles as the enemy are shooting at you.
Yeah,
it's very
the swinging stuff. I mean, I can see that in a video game. I can equally see that in a ride at Disneyland Paris. Where you have to, you're going underneath it in the thing. And I did, as much as I enjoyed that as a set piece, I thought it was well done, and I thought it was well put together, and I liked the way it looked. I did also find myself rolling my eyes a little bit at the fact that this is like, okay, this feels a little bit too set piecey. And I wonder, because they're not using the volume for this so much, are they? Am I right in thinking? I'm sure
no,
I read somewhere that
think
they are.
this is I think this is as practical as they're trying as they're going to get. And the show has it does have a very kind of a I don't know how to say it. It's a very tangible quality to it, and a very kind of intimate quality to it. Like 3 episodes, set in one little kind of town square almost.
Yeah.
Which I really loved. I've really felt it. I grew attached to these characters and to this place that he was in. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself when I'm saying we don't need to spend that many episodes there, but I also feel like I could have gotten attached to that in one episode. And I also, I love, I had fun with that set piece, but I was thinking this is very old school Star Wars. This is the trash compactor, or it's the Anakin and Padme jumping around on the in the forge, where they're building the droids. It was that kind of thing. But then it goes completely tonally against, I think, what was essentially like Blade Runner in the very opening, where he's going into this club looking for his sister. A thread that has yet to be revisited, and
I mean, we see the flashbacks of him with his sister, presumably with his sister from when he was a child, and then that it's a bit. It's a bit strange. It does feel as though, which is, I think, why I would have stretched out, though not stretched out, like spent more time on those first 3 episodes. I feel like that could have been a series, and there could have been interwoven with that. He is on this planet because he's been taken there by Aunt Petunia. He's been she will always be to me. Sadly, I'm of that generation. Then
Cork woman.
Yeah, he's trying to find his sister. He's staying there because he thinks his sister's there. There's these other people knocking around, all of this wonderful kind of cast of characters. What I loved is the fact that he looked shocked when he killed those guys. There was a moment when he killed that guy, he was like, "Oh my God, I've killed him. I didn't mean to do that." Then, a couple of episodes later, your guy is saying, "Yeah, he's got no problem killing people." It's like, oh wait, I think he did actually. I think he did have a problem killing that guy, and then he killed the other guy because he didn't really have much of a choice. And I think that as a thread would have been a really interesting thing to explore in the Star Wars universe, because you have a lot of people that claim this high morality who swing big burning swords and big blasters at people, taking life left, right, and center without a thought. And I think to take somebody who we've seen in Rogue One, who has those moral qualities, but then chooses not to kill later on, and actually explore how we got to the point where he was both grizzled and also moral, would be really interesting to see, what he had to go through there. And I just don't feel as though that's really been exploited.
I totally think, I wasn't thinking about that actually until you mentioned it. I think they've completely jumped the gun on him killing those 2 guards. I think, I'm looking at the cast here. I think it's Cyril Karn, the guy who's like obsessed with trying to, find these men who have wronged us. Very good. Yeah. And he moves in with his mother at the end. Which that's my way of remembering him, as separating him from the other guys. Sure. But I think he should have been like. It could be like somebody else in his group, in Andor's group, that maybe have committed a crime, or he's a thief, so maybe he stole something, and it's like, how dare they steal from us? Stealing from us is like stealing from the Emperor himself. It's like they might as well have walked right into Palpatine's bedroom and stolen right from under him. It's like you can get all kind of dramatic with that, and that would have been enough. And then midway through the season, you have him take his first life, and it's like, oh my God, now he's big on moment, this road. What have I got myself into? Andor is this wonderfully complicated character in Rogue One. He's one of the most complex and well-written characters in all of Star Wars. When I heard he was getting his own TV series, I thought, I don't need it. Don't make the mistake, Lucasfilm, please, of trying to over-explain how characters become these characters. Our imagination does a lot of the work. Our imagination, filling in the blanks, is what made Star Wars such a fascinating and long... it's what gave Star Wars longevity, over the decades, was mystery and filling in the pieces with toys and action figures and playing out those scenes of how Vader became Vader and so on and so forth. You don't need to make a movie about every little thing. And Andor is one character who absolutely did not need an origin story. I was glad when they did it, because when I found out the direction it was going in, because I thought, what I really love is I want to actually revisit a lot of the backstabbing and espionage that goes with running an empire. I want to see the Rome TV series, in Star Wars form. I want to see I want to see Mon Mothma, like having to, as we see her in this, trying to outsmart her taxi or her chauffeur so that she can talk to people without being noticed. Like, I love that idea that there is. I think there's a line in the trailer where the Empire are choking us slowly, and ever since I've heard that, I'm stealing that and using that in my pitches and things like that, because I think it's such a great way of describing this threat that is this pressure on everybody, this weight on people, which I love. It's slowly crushing you. The water is slowly boiling you to death, and I just think there's the show is doing that very evocative, well. Yeah. But that's the stuff that I think is of value in this right now. I don't think Andor is the most valuable entity in the series.
No,
because yeah, he took his first life straight away. I love that opening sequence, but hearing what your thoughts are, I'm thinking they might have actually jumped the gun on that by releasing that, or having him get to that point too soon.
Yeah, I think I mean we know from our conversations about the Obi-Wan and before that Boba Fett that my whole thing is I want something a little bit more contemplative.
Yeah.
But I think that I think this would have been a really interesting way of doing that and of finding a way to think about morality in Star Wars in a different way. It was light and dark originally, and then every director that's come in since, especially with things like The Last Jedi, every person, every kind of people coming into play in the sandbox seem to be doing this thing of going, aha, but there's shades of grey, and winking at us as if that's something that no one's thought of before. And I think that this would have been a great opportunity to do that in a way that we actually see it make tangible difference to something. You have we're going to see the birth of the rebellion here. This is also what leads to Rogue One and things like that. That we know in this series is kind of where this is going, and I'm here for it, and I like it. But I want to see that represented in an individual who is idealistic to begin with, who or on perhaps the wrong path. He's kind of a petty criminal, whatever, but fundamentally decent and fundamentally is a good person with a certain set of skills, such as, which is what the rebellion is. It's fundamentally a good idea. It's fundamentally for the right, but they have to do things that are not fundamentally good. And I want to see that represented in this individual. We may still get that, but I think with that opening sequence, and we can move on from this opening sequence in a bit because we spent a lot of time on it, but I think with that opening sequence, they have kind of, to use your term, jump the gun. And I think it does diminish some of that we see later on.
Well, this is going to be, I think they've got a few seasons. They've already greenlit season 2. It's 12 episodes.
Oh, really? I thought this was standalone. Yeah. Oh, okay.
No. This is a multi-season thing. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've said I think this will become one of the standout, like one of the great Star Wars properties. I do think. I totally feel feel like they're hitting a lot of really strong notes throughout these 4 episodes that we've seen. I think the Empire is a really scary presence. And I love that
it's a very English presence is what it is,
this whole thing is I think that's it goes back to that old cliche, I guess, of make the villains sound English, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But they're really hammering into this. But I also think it's interesting that a lot of the heroes of the story have English or Irish backgrounds as well, and European backgrounds and so on, and I think that's all fantastic because it's showing that accent doesn't automatically, it is that shades of grey, isn't it? That accent doesn't already automatically define you as the villain in a Star Wars movie anymore. I hope
whilst
that
they're on one hand doing the same, they're doing it. They're literally doing that thing. They are still also making that point. You're right. Yeah.
I hope that they play into that idea that that person that was good can become bad. I hope that there is some backstabbing. I hope that there are some like treacherous betrayals and so on and so forth, because I think Star Wars needs that a little bit. Here's the thing. I want the Empire to be scary. They've accomplished that. I want them to feel like they are a bloated, arrogant machine, as Andor has kind of described them as, maybe not in those words, but he talked like you can just walk in there if you act like you belong there. Yeah. And I love that way of talking. Like, they're so arrogant, they won't even question. I think that's amazing. Show me more of that. I love that. And I really get that sense. I love the idea he's looking for his sister. I love the idea that the way he killed those men, like that it was an accident, like it doesn't. And then there was this cold-blooded nature to it. Yeah. And I love the characters he surrounded himself with. I love Fiona Shaw. She was so great. This is what a
She's
reckoning
brilliant,
looks
yeah.
like. And I love the droid that she has, who seems to have kind of this social he seems to have this kind of anxiety.
Little stutter going on, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just kind of he the way he kind of lowers his head a little bit into the thing. He's been he's if a droid can suffer from PTSD, I think this guy has it. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a malfunction. It feels like mental health. That is being neglected. And I think all that's really fascinating, really interesting stuff. Again, I think they're hitting a lot of really strong notes here. My question is, I guess, are they hitting them in the right order? Are they hitting them in the are we seeing this in the best is this the best possible version of itself? Could this 4 episodes have been 2 episodes? Yeah. This is a 12 episode season. We're now we're now waiting for the 5th episode. We are a third of the way through.
Yeah.
A third of the way through. And I don't know what the end game of this season is. Like, is this about his sister? Is this about him just trying to get start a new life? Like, I'm going to get you off world now. Like, okay, you can just drop me off somewhere. Like, is he just... What is actually the goal here? I don't feel like I know that. I feel like he's just been now thrown into a mission, and I've no doubt the sister will play a role and come back into this. Did I need to see flashbacks of him as a child in what is meant to be like? This is meant to be young Cassian compared to Rogue One. Emotionally younger, let's say. Yeah. Do I need to see him literally younger again as flashbacks? I don't feel I need to. I don't feel I got anything there. And a lot of the critics have said that the young Andor scenes are the worst part of this show.
Okay. I didn't mind them. I thought I kind of I was all right with them. I think I enjoyed seeing a different culture played out in Star Wars. I think I enjoyed seeing a different kind of, perhaps, I suppose in terms of in the mix of the story that we're telling here, I agree, maybe perhaps not really relevant or useful, but I enjoyed the scenes themselves. I thought that was interesting, and it's interesting, perhaps a little ham-fisted to he's already trying to beat up an empire. Oh no, it's Republic at that point in time, actually, isn't it? It's not even Empire. Sorry,
I got nothing. I got nothing from those scenes. I really. I think you could have done a great moment at the beginning. The first thing you see is Andor as a kid with his sister, and they're having this little moment, putting the face, the markings on their face or whatever, and then you just smash cut to him walking into the club, and it's, I'm looking for somebody, and it's just, there you go. Like, that's it. I don't need anything more about Fiona Shaw rescuing him or anything like that. I can learn that in the present. I can learn that when the guards sit him down. Where is he? There's so many more. I just think, how far along were we with Obi-Wan Kenobi at this point? By episode 4.
Terms of that's true.
We'd already had a Vader battle at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. But I think that's probably why they dropped those 3 episodes together, though. I think the suggestion is that this is one part of the story. These 3 episodes. Okay. This is one thing, and then we're going to go on to this is where the real story starts with episode 1. So I think, to be honest, I'm looking almost at the first 3 episodes as its own series, its own thing. It's almost like a prequel to what's going on, and then from episode 4, this is episode 1. And we're now going on with the rest of it. That's not how they've labeled it, but that's how it feels to me when I'm watching it. That's how it's
becoming a red flag for me. And I think it's going to become a red flag for critics as well. Now, don't get me wrong, critics are raving about this, but critics are saying this is like the most un-Star Wars. This is the best Star Wars show that doesn't feel like Star Wars. That's not a good thing, by the way.
No, it's not.
Like, you've said as well, like, it's free of all the baggage and all that, and that's great. And I've used it as a talking point to sell people who say, well, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Well, lucky for you, this is the least Star Wars thing we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird compliment, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a
I know
weird
what you
compliment. Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
Imagine if critics were saying that about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
mean.
A show that already has a lot of like hurdles to climb to win people over. Imagine if they were saying, well, don't worry guys, this isn't really Lord of the Rings. That would be considered a death sentence for the show. So I think I'm not sure if I'm on board with that as a healthy descriptor.
Okay, that's fair.
The thing is, right, there was a big thing, and Star Wars paved the way for this conversation. Reshoots should be a red flag. Oh, the quality isn't good. They went back and did reshoots, and a lot of Star Wars films had that problem. Now, reshoots don't bother me. Reshoots can make films better. Reshoots are rewrites. They just involve cameras and visual effects artists and directors and so on.
Yeah. Not very normal.
It's incredible to think that these types of films with so much complexity, so much filming in front of green screens and all that, of course you're going to go back and do reshoots. The actors didn't even know what they were acting against. Of course you're going to go and do reshoots on films. So I don't mind that kind of stuff. For me, the red flag is when I start seeing multiple episodes being dropped in one go, because True Detective never had to do that. The Sopranos never had to do that. Lots and lots of TV shows, lots of the great TV shows never really had that. And
different era,
it does seem, I know it's a very different way of doing things, but if you shouldn't have to release 3 episodes of a Star Wars show in one go, you shouldn't have to release 2 episodes of Lord. Like, we're in. There's no way. Like, the people who are excited about Lord of the Rings do not need 2 episodes to convince them that it's worth their time. Nor does Star Wars or Marvel or anything like that. And yet we are getting that kind of thing now. And I wonder, is it done to just to satisfy the people who want to binge stuff as well, and maybe they don't want people having to wait until the end. They want to give them that kind of satisfaction of binge watching something. I don't know. Maybe there are reasons outside of quality. But when I see 3 episodes being given away in one go, I'm like, okay, do I need to be worried here?
But that's exactly my point, though. I think that these first 3 episodes are taken as one thing. They are one thing. You look at this, and then everything that comes afterwards. I think they're designed to be watched in one go, and then everything comes after that. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and the kind of the landscape of this and how we are consuming it is changing, and it's always changing. But it seems to be that all of these big flagship shows are dropping multiple episodes at once. The Boys did it, Lord of the Rings did it. I don't think Game of Thrones didn't, did they? Because they're still just HBO.
Because they don't need to.
They don't need to because it's Game of Thrones. Yeah, 100%.
Have confidence in the show.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think of the Stellan Skarsgård's character, Luthen Rael? Great name.
He's one of my favorite things that I've ever seen on screen. I absolutely love him. I love that actor. At his worst, he's brilliant. And I think he's brilliant. The turn that he did, because the subversion of expectation there is absolutely brilliant, because you expect him as a character to be because he is as an actor to be the sort of gruff and serious type, and he's here to recruit Andor. When he starts putting on the rings and the bracelets and his wig and everything, and he transforms, not only is that an astounding piece of performance, the way he flips it like that.
He practices his gestures. Yeah, in silhouette.
It's so tragic to see him become. He's diminished by putting this stuff on. He becomes lesser than the person that he was before. I think it's a fantastic device in terms of character and things like that. I love it. I'm so into it. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, no, totally. And I love the idea that he. It's just so fascinating to see him. He's shooting blasters one minute. He's talking about, galactic and antiques and so on, like in another scene, and it's just brilliant. And I just love thinking about. Yeah, he's got this double personality totally down, and I'm so curious about what tricks he has up his sleeve. Like, I'm so curious to see what kind of plans he's got in play at the moment. Where else is he going tomorrow? That kind of thing. And he's just again, he's one of those characters that really inspires the imagination. I think he's a character you are going to see pop up in future animated series as a younger man. Like if they do something set during Clone Wars, or if they do something set during even Bad Batch, with season 2 or whatever. Like I could fully experience.
We're getting the Tales of the Jedi stuff coming soon, which is in that Clone Wars style, I think. So that's perfect. That's prime anthology territory for him. Sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah.
No, but I could totally see him popping up, a younger version of himself popping up there and getting all of this kind of again, similar to what we're getting with Andor. I really love it. Do you think we're finished with that planet where Fiona Shaw and so on were on? Like, because it felt strange to me that we were leaving that planet.
We can't be. It just, it's Chekhov's planet, isn't it? Why are we there if not to go back to it? Why start there unless it's threatened later? Perhaps there and we no, actually no, we can't be, because that whole business of what's his face, Doc Brown coming in. I can't remember the character's name, but the guy who dismisses everyone and tells him that the Empire's taking over there. He's there now, and they've got the Empire going in there now, and you're going to get stormtroopers on those streets. So surely that's a plot thread, perhaps even later in the series. Great, we've done this, and yes, I'm going to take my money now. Thank you very much for paying me. We've achieved all that we set out to do. Did you know, however, there are stormtroopers on your streets, and they are now going to be they're going to be dealing with all this stuff, and your adoptive mother is blah blah blah. Well, now I'm in the rebellion because I must do all this. This is wrong. I crude description of it, but I wonder. We can't be done with it. We have to go back there, because it would be a really weird story point to not go back there, I think.
Yeah. I was wondering. Yeah, when they were leaving, I was thinking, okay, yeah, maybe they're done with this. And I thought, surely they can't be. But then from memory, I might be wrong, but from memory, I think all the great stuff we got from the trailer, from those characters, was already in those episodes. And I don't know, Fiona Shaw did her great line, "This is what a reckoning sounds like," and all that. And I thought, actually, maybe we are done, because we just got, I don't know. So I hope. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't think I'm so in love with that setting or those characters that I want to go back there. I feel like what I really want now is him just on Mission Impossible style missions. I think we're done. I feel like I'm done with that.
Maybe
that small town kind of feel,
Yeah, I may perhaps, or maybe we'll. I don't know. Perhaps there's a Mission Impossible style thing there that we end up back there for some contrivance. It could be that there's a MacGuffin that is situated there. I mean, because they were talking about what were they talking about in that big very British hall? They were talking about the box being stolen from that planet, and how all of there's a pattern going on in different systems, and there's a rebellion starting, things like that. I don't think we're done with it. I wonder if perhaps he's going to be. They're going to work out who he is. They're going to, and perhaps they'll, kidnap Aunt Petunia, and he's got to go back and save her or something like that. Who knows? Yeah. I don't think. I think you're right in the sense that, there's it served its initial purpose. I think there will be another personal purpose for it later in the series, and I think we'll see it again.
Okay, 2 questions. A, did we need an Andor TV series? I think we needed a Rebellion TV series. Did we need an Andor TV series? And also, is Andor really the star of this, or is Mon Mothma? I guess what I'm asking there is, I have a sneaking suspicion what everybody just really wants to see is Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma.
Because she is amazing. Yeah. Guinevere O'Reilly.
Yeah. She's fantastic. Yeah, we didn't need an Andor TV series. There's just no question. We didn't need it. The Rogue One does a very good job of building that character. We see where he ends up. We see what he inspires. We see all of those things. We didn't need to see him go on the mission. We did need a Rebellion series. Well, no, I mean, we don't need anything. We don't need any of these series, really. But it's interesting to see a Rebellion
No, I
series.
agree. I think we really do need a Rebellion series because I've never found I've never found the Empire scary. I've never found them to be this scary threat. I've never felt like it would be bad to live in the reign of Emperor Palpatine. And that's a problem. You know? Like, problem, let's be honest. When you watch the original Star Wars trilogy, why does the Empire need to fall? Tell me. Give me any statistic or fact or anything about why the Empire needs to be taken down, right? And then when you watch the prequels,
Uncle Owen's paying some bad taxes on his moisture farms. I'm sure there's something in.
When you watch the prequels, you're like, okay, yeah, it's bad the way they came to power, but again, I've only seen them come to power. I haven't seen them do anything bad to innocent civilians. I've seen Jedi fall and clone troopers fall and droids, but I don't like.
It's a military coup, though, isn't it? It's like
none of it is, and we don't know. Again, it could be for the better. You have to show me. It was only in things like Solo when you see them invading places or when they've taken the Wookiees captive. Like you're like, okay, that sucks. And it's Rogue One. You're seeing the kind of you feeling the passion of why they need to why you need to do these things. I'm aware, by the way, they destroyed Alderaan in A New Hope. So yeah, that's fine. But this thing that destroyed Alderaan,
scale, though, isn't it? Yeah. It's a bit. That's too big a scale. You need to.
Yeah. I can. That's like that might as well just be an ecological disaster. I mean, it's so big, you know. And also, they destroyed that thing with a group of like 6 X-wings or whatever it was, you know. So, I'm not again not worried. Like, yeah, they destroyed a planet, but we destroyed that. Just the good guys destroyed that just as quickly. So I've always had that problem with Star Wars. And I love that we're finally tapping into this idea that the Empire are cruel. They are worthy of Game of Thrones style stuff, you know? And it's just, they're on the wrong network to get that, you know? They've just been suppressed because they're just, and I love that idea that we're getting this kind of cruel component coming through. So I definitely think we need a Rebellion episode, a Rebellion season no, but not to balance it, but to highlight through the Rebellion.
Sure.
To highlight how bad they really are. You know,
I get that. I do get that. I think it's certainly this is the Rebellion show, and Andor is our way into the Rebellion, right? So he's the way to see how the Rebellion functions and how it goes like that. So yeah, I just hope they don't do a Boba Fett on us and we don't like leave him for several episodes in the middle of the series and then go off and follow Mon Mothma. You know,
This is why I asked you this.
Yeah,
this is why I asked you this. Do you think this could very quickly turn into the Mon Mothma show? That's why I'm asking, you know?
I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted for the same reasons, though, because those episodes, I don't know if I told you, actually, I went back and I watched Mandalorian right the way through and then didn't watch Boba Fett, and I just went to those Mandalorian episodes and just carried on as if it was just the Mandalorian, and it works so brilliantly. I'm so excited about that. But it's not Boba Fett. It's not anything to do with it. I will die on this hill. It's not. It's wrong. It's weird and it's wrong, and I don't like it. But I loved those episodes because I loved those 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and I enjoyed that. I would love to see more of Mon Mothma. I'd love to see a Mon Mothma show. I would love a political thriller starring Mon Mothma in Star Wars. How cool! How interesting!
But I think that's what we're getting, though. That's why.
Well, then do that separately. Don't do Don't try and do it all. Do one thing. No.
But see, that's I think we'll leave it at this point because obviously we need to watch the rest of the show to find out where they're going with this. But I do think Star Wars has always suffered from branding. I mean, obviously it's this amazingly well-branded franchise, but I think the way it brands its storytelling, I think, has always been an issue. Like Book of Boba Fett should have been a chapter in the Mandalorian saga, and it should have all fallen under the Mandalorian series, right? There's that great I don't know if it's on Instagram or Reddit or whatever, somebody pointed out that all the titles for the Star Wars movies are in the wrong movie. Like, you know, like A New
Yeah,
Hope
yeah, yeah.
should be
That's
in, like,
great.
I don't
Yeah,
know, Rise. It should be, I don't
Force
know, something
Awakens, I
else.
think.
Rise of
Yeah,
Skywalker should be A New Hope or something. You know, it's all
yeah,
swapped around, and
yeah.
and it works. It's hard to disagree with it when you see it
It
laid
is.
out in
Yeah,
front of you.
it's
And I
true.
do
It's true.
feel that this show shouldn't be called Andor. It should be called something else that encompasses Mon Mothma, encompasses Stellan Skarsgård's character, encompasses Andor as well, Cassian
Yeah,
Andor. And doing that
yeah.
would take the pressure off of you having to give you this great origin story for this character, because you are really making a statement when you give the secondary character of Rogue One a TV series,
His own show. Yeah, yeah.
you know, and not the star of Rogue One. You know what I mean? There is something interesting there.
Yeah,
I
there
think
is.
Diego Luna, when he starred in Narcos Mexico, he's brilliant in that. I love Narcos, but it wasn't. Yes, it's about him and his mission to build up this family and this empire and this operation, but it wasn't named after his family. It was called Narcos in general. Like, I'm not saying call this. There's already a show called Rebels, but you know,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is the? I mean, but you know, what do you call this thing? You know, you could.
Yeah,
you
I know,
could
I know,
call it,
I know.
You know,
I know.
I think they've done this because there is a, you know, The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor now, you know, all of their things. They are Book of Boba Fett. You know, these are character-driven things, and that's fine. But I do think it would have been more interesting to explore. Well, we don't know yet. We might be wrong. We're early days here.
Okay.
But I agree with you to go full circle on that. Your branding thing. So release those first three and call it the prequel to Andor. Call this thing what it actually
that would
is,
be
and
great
make that
as a Netflix event. Yeah. Or sorry, a Disney Plus event.
Disney Plus
Disney
event.
Plus. Yeah.
That.
Okay, very quickly before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Give me 3 things you want to see in this, like very quick. Like 3 things that you're holding out for.
I want to see more of Mon Mothma. I want to see. I want to see, and I know we see it, and so there's a bit of a cop out. I want to see the Senate. I want to see discourse happening within the Senate. I want to see that political arena and the different things like that. I want to see the connections more firmly established between the separatists. Not separatists, I suppose, are they? They would be the rebels within the Senate. I want to see those connections begin to form with the rebellion in a big way, in a proper way, and I want to see. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know really. I want to see more Star Wars stuff, but at the same time, I want it to do its own thing. I want it to go and do something interesting. I want it to be the Bourne Ultimatum set in Star Wars. That's what I want this to be. I want this to be that thing that it appears to be. And what concerns me with the with Episode 4 is that it's beginning to get more Star Warsy, and we're beginning to get more Star Wars stuff, because of course you're going to get more Star Wars stuff, but I kind of want it to be what it is and not forced into that Star Wars bracket. But then why make it if you're not going to do? I don't know. I feel conflicted about it, John.
I think it has all the ingredients. I think it's laid out all the ingredients for it to be the Bourne series that we kind of imagine, or that it's kind of teasing.
Feels,
and I do think it will live up to that. I have total confidence in the filmmakers. I know I've been quite critical about the way it's been delivered so far, but I feel they have the ingredients here to make this the smartest Star Wars thing we've gotten to date. And I'm holding it to a high standard because of that, because of those ingredients, you know. So I mean, I love this. I really love this. I love waiting for Wednesday to come around so I can see the next episode. I'm not feeling. I was
going to say, because you started this. You started this saying, I said what your feelings about it, and you started with going, I'm not enjoying it. So that's interesting that you've now come back around to go, yeah, I love it. I love it when Wednesday comes around.
I know. I'm totally flip-flopping here. No, okay, let me paraphrase. Watching those episodes play out individually, I'm not having the best time with them.
Sure. But the story...
But knowing being able to kind of, I don't know, envision where this could go, the promise of where this could go, and the caliber of ideas that are on display, I know that I will go back and rewatch this season when it's finished, and I will love it. But it's asking a lot from me right now, episode by episode.
Yeah.
And even having to sit through 3 episodes felt a bit of a chore. That's how I feel about it. But look, here's what I want out of this. I want Emperor Palpatine to I want a hologram or like a propaganda thing of Palpatine. Like, welcome to the Empire. I don't know, something stupid like that. I want Krennic from Rogue One to make an appearance.
Ah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I'd be into that.
I want him to make a cameo, and I want stormtroopers to be used as like really scary things. Like, you've had all the poorly paid, poorly trained Outer Rim security guys. And we need stormtroopers to do this job, and so the stormtroopers come in, and it's like, oh crap,
and they're good,
and and they're good, and you can
good.
later have them be bad, but would be weak or whatever. But right now, they need to be good,
Yeah. I get that.
And I think if they can give me that stuff, plenty of Star Destroyers and all that as well. If you can give me all that, I'll be really happy.
You'll be happy with it. Okay, John. It's interesting chatting about it. You've made me think a little deeper about this show, because I, to be honest with you, was pretty face value on this at the moment. It's oh yeah, this is cool. I'm enjoying it's another Star Wars show, but it's interesting to actually look at it. I can't wait to see Emperor Palpatine do his Christmas address. That's going to be thrilling. But yeah, thank you for that. If you would like to listen to any of our other Star Wars content, then you can find it YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all over the place like that. Feel free to leave us a review on there if you like. And if you are a screenwriter listening to this and you've come to the end, then go check out thescriptdepartment.net. We have some very, very cool things going on over there at the moment. You will be into it. John, thanks very much. And we'll see you guys next time in a galaxy far, far away when we look again at Andor. So for now, take care and goodbye.